way things are from a couple of years on, things are real horrible here in New York, all over.
You're dealing with a lot of people that are maniacs today.
We're dealing with an individual who's very basic, who only knows two things, rip off or be ripped off.
Many of those who make good by being bad are nowhere to be seen these days.
I'd be afraid. Of course I'd be afraid. He's a sick guy. He'd kill any time.
Yeah, but we're
There isn't anything on earth that I will hide from or back up from.
People seem not to understand the close relationship between organized crime and street crime. And certainly in dealing with street crime in his area or any other kind of crime, the uniform patrol...
Presenzano, shot 4 times, his throat cut. Presenzano was allegedly connected.
Night is like 1,000 years old since I got these young boy blues. I wanna cry when I hear your name, but if I cried I'd be ashamed. So I let my pride be my guide and I keep my tears inside. Each night is like 1,000 years old since I got these young boy blues.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of NYC Crime Spot. Today we're here to talk about the history of Burger King on Westchester. No, I'm kidding. We're here on Westchester Avenue in the Pelham Bay section of the Bronx, New York City. Today I brought a special guest, a Queens Paisan, 2 Queens legends, my man.
Everybody.
GunSmoke the Don.
How you doing?
What's
up?
going on?
What's up?
We'll put his channel up. We'll put a link to the channel
Yeah.
in this description. Follow my man GunSmoke the Don. He's going to take a walk with me today.
Yeah.
And what we're going to be talking about today here in the Bronx is the events that transpired on December 10th, 2005. Between the addresses of 3117 and 3119 Arno Place. Street now named after Police Officer Daniel Enchautegui. And we're going to be talking about a gentleman that many of you know, a guy by the name of Lillo Brancato Jr., an actor who essentially wasted his talent here on Arno Place in 2005.
That's right.
Many of you know him from Bronx Tale, of course. That was his first film.
Yeah.
Right when he was spotted on Jones Beach.
Yeah.
In 1992. He's over there. His brother grabs the flyer and says, they're over there handing out flyers, you know. Bronx Tale, we're going to be filming. This is Chaz Palminteri's one-man show. We're going to make a movie. De Niro, this whole thing. And his brother says, oh, my brother would be perfect. My brother even looks like De Niro.
Yeah.
So he's going to go there and basically he's going to end up trying out for the part, right?
Yeah, he did a few De Niro impressions and he nailed it. So.
He basically nailed it, and he got the role, and it was a legendary role. And he played a great part. It's a legendary movie.
Yeah.
It's go ahead, sir. It's a movie that is a classic. I mean, especially for us, and growing up in New York City. I think, of course, it means a lot to many people, but it's a New York City tale. A lot of us could identify a little bit with it. And the theme of the movie is basically the theme of this upload, right? Wasted talent, right?
That's right. It's a damn shame.
So, at the time Lilo was filming the movie, actually, I believe he gets spoken to by De Niro or Chaz, because they have the inkling that he's like getting high, that he's smoking weed or doing whatever he's doing. And, he gets the old lesson, De Niro, hey kid, you gotta, keep your head on straight, this this world is rough, especially, you know, you're going to get fame really young, you know, but he doesn't exactly take the advice.
Well, he was showing up to the set high. I mean, he was filming scenes high as a skunk.
Exactly, and that would be a theme throughout his career, filming scenes high.
Yeah.
After Bronx Tale, of course, he's riding high on his success. In 1994, he's in the Danny DeVito movie Renaissance Man, if any of you have seen that. He plays one of the students in the army. Danny DeVito goes to become a teacher. It's a fun movie, it's funny. Yeah. Plays a good character. After that, he's in Crimson Tide. Actually, James Gandolfini's in there, Gene Hackman, Denzel's in there. And as he's getting into his fame, his drug use is just increasing.
Yeah.
He starts experimenting with mushrooms, mescaline, psychedelics, all types of shit. And I think word had got around that he's kind of like messing up. Let's look at this. The Italo-American United Civic League. Members only.
Wonder what goes on in there.
Members only, baby. You see what's going on? Oh, that's actually Balsamo Funeral Home right there. All right, let's not talk. We don't have to talk about that. There you go, Balsamo Funeral Home. For those who know. No. Yeah, so then in the late 90s, he ends up, I think it's the second season of The Sopranos. You want to talk about that, Gunsmoke?
Yeah, he played Matthew Bevilacqua.
That's right.
Which was an interesting role.
That's right.
What was it? It was just one season, right? I think he died by the end of the season.
I think he was in a few episodes. I think it was 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah.
You guys remember he's sitting in the chair begging for his life. Tony, please, no, mommy. You know, they tried to whack Moltisanti.
Yeah. He's supposed to push with bisticks.
Actually, in the scene, you remember when Furio goes in there and he's like roughing him up in the apartment?
Yeah.
He said that he was high on heroin for that scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Yeah,
that was a funny scene.
He said he was high on heroin for that scene.
Yeah.
So getting into the early 2000s, you know, let me get this train pass by. We got the 6 train. And getting into the early 2000s, I mean, his drug habits would just increase, right? I mean, he's talking about $1,000 a day drug habit.
Jesus.
Smoking crack. Going through numerous bags of heroin.
Yeah.
So his drug habit is just getting worse and worse. And you know, by this time, you know, people have got to know, you know, people that want to hire people for movies.
Yeah.
You know, he even talked about, I don't know if you heard this story, Gunsmoke, he was so blasted on drugs that he passed up a chance to be in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my God.
Steven Spielberg was looking for people. He was looking for, like, you know, to mix it up, right? Or I need a couple of New York guys. I need different characters, you know? He got so high that basically he said, yeah, no, I'll see Spielberg next time, as if there's a next time to meet Spielberg, you know?
Missed opportunities.
And that role actually went to Vin Diesel.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
Yeah. And it's sad, you could hear in the interviews with Lillo Brancato, you could see how he holds that movie in high regard. You know, when he talks about that movie, the beginning scene, and you could tell it eats at him till today.
Oh, it's a classic film.
It's a classic film, especially the opening scene is stuff of legends, you know?
Yeah, a lot of big actors in that movie. That would have been a good look for him.
That would have been a good look. And despite his downfalls, he was a good actor.
Yeah.
He's still a good actor. But wasted talent. What can you say?
I could see him in that movie, too. He would have been good.
Of course. You know, the guy from New York that ended up in World War II, you know?
Yeah.
You guys are getting a good look at the Bronx. Hey, guys, this is the first time, Gunsmoke, that I've ever filmed in the Bronx.
Really?
So this is kind of cool to be in Pelham Bay, walking around. Maybe not walk by a social club in a mobbed up funeral parlor, you know, allegedly. So, sometime in the early 2000s, he starts dating a woman, and he develops a relationship with her father, a guy by the name of Steven Armento, right? And this guy is a bad dude. He's a drug addict. He's got an arrest record dating back to the 1970s. And one article actually mentions, I don't know if you ever heard this, GunSmoke, one article actually mentions that he's like a low-level Genovese associate. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
No, I don't think I heard about that.
Now, that could mean that at one point in time he was arrested with a couple of guys, you know, Genovese guys or whatever. He might have been loosely affiliated somehow, but, you know, that's something that sticks with you forever. Once you get bagged up with those guys,
yeah,
you're an associate. He was probably just a fucking lowlife and probably knew some people, you know?
Yeah.
But these two, despite Lillo not being with the woman anymore, these two maintain their relationship.
I think they bonded over the drugs.
Yeah, they basically bonded over their drug use.
Yeah.
And
they're going to strip clubs together. They're getting high.
They're getting high. They're going to strip clubs. You know, by any means necessary, basically.
Yeah.
And this relationship is essentially going to lead to both of them ruining their lives. Now, in June of 2005, Lillo's actually going to be arrested. He's going to be arrested for having, I believe, 5 or 6 bags of, the glassine heroin hidden inside a cigarette box. He would be bagged up in the Bronx. So, some of this addict shit was maybe under wraps in the public eye. But now it was kind of out there, like, all right, the Bronx Tale kid has a problem.
Yeah.
He's a heroin addict. So this is not a good look. And it would be months later of that same year that essentially the events that we're going to be talking about today would take place. Right here in the Pelham Bay section of the Bronx, New York City.
It's a beautiful day in the hood, too.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. So on the night of December 10th, 2005, Steven Armento and Lilo Brancato, they just left a strip club in the Bronx. And it's called the Crazy Horse Cabaret in the Bronx over here. I don't know if it's still there. I'm not sure. And Lillo knows a guy, or used to know a guy, that lived on Arnold Place over here. A guy by the name of Kenny, who was a Vietnam vet who Lillo used to get pills from. Because this guy had all types of prescriptions, whatever he had, PTSD, he was old, whatever it may be, he was always getting these pain pills and shit. So Lillo basically knew the guy, and he got pills from him in the past. So he tells Steven Armento, I got this guy, I know where he lives, he's going to have some pills for us. Now Lillo doesn't know this guy's been dead for 6 months.
Yeah.
So he's going to a house that, no one's there. I think the house was even empty at that time.
Some friend, don't even know he's dead, huh?
Yeah, some friend. Right.
He's just going to give us pills.
Exactly. Let's get a look over here. Heading to Arnold Place. GunSmoke, what do you remember about this night?
What do I remember about it? What? You mean the incident itself?
Yeah.
I remember, they were going in there looking for pills.
Yep.
There was an alleyway, and in this alleyway there was a little window, like towards the floor, I guess in the basement, and they tried to break in there. They broke the glass, and that's what alerted the police officer.
Yep.
I can't pronounce his last name.
Yeah, Enchautegui.
There you go, Enchautegui. And he was alerted to the sound of the broken glass. I guess he grabs his gun, he goes outside to see what's going on. He probably says something like, hey!
Yep.
Startled them. I don't know who pulled out their gun first, but...
Yeah.
Lilo gets shot twice in the stomach, I guess. I thought the cop shot him in the ass, but I guess it was in the stomach. And I guess he tries to run away. And his friend there, what's his name, Armento?
Yep.
I guess he returns fire and critically injures the cop. I guess, Yep. Cop passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about it like from how it played out in court, you know, and what Lillo says, you know. So apparently that night they come to Arnold Place, and like you said, they go to this alleyway between these two residences that we're going to right now.
Yeah.
And they start making noise. They break the glass window to the, I guess, the basement apartment there. And basically what happens is Enchautegui actually calls the cops himself first before going outside.
Yes, yes.
I'm an off-duty MOS. I think somebody broke into my neighbor's home. There's glass and the windows on the floor.
Yeah.
Now, by the time Enchautegui gets outside, Lillo is kind of walking away already. And he says to Lillo, freeze! Lillo turns around, and when Lillo turns around, he gets shot 2 times in the stomach, and then a shot grazes his chest.
Wow. Lillo was unarmed, though.
He was unarmed. Then Lillo starts walking away down the block towards the train station. He hears more shots.
And that was the officer.
His partner that night, Steven Armento, essentially started shooting at the cop.
Yeah.
Now, he shoots the cop in the chest. As the cop falls, he gets off more shots, and he ends up shooting Armento something like 6 times.
Wow. I didn't know all that.
Yep.
Wow.
So we are here now, actually, at Arnold Place. And we'll go down over there. It's actually been named after Officer Daniel Enchautegui, the block. And we'll go look at where this event took place. So what happens is, unfortunately, Officer Enchautegui, who had only been on the force for a few years at that time, he was 28 years old, he's going to lose his life right here. From Steven Armento's .357 Magnum. Lilo Brancato is going to go down the block here, and the cops are going to catch up to him. They're going to say, what happened? What happened? And he say, that bald guy shot me. Not knowing that the guy's a cop, not knowing that the bald guy is dead, and that his friend is shot up 6 times, and that his friend, his junkie friend, kills the cop.
Yeah.
And of course, as you know, GunSmoke, when a cop gets killed in New York City, it's
a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And, you know, that with the backdrop of Lillo, it's even bigger deal.
Yeah, you're not getting away with that.
No. So we're on the block now, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get a look at the house where this took place, where this tragic event took place that cost the life of a young New York City police officer who thought he was doing the right thing, you know? I mean, that's protecting his neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
So we're heading up there now, guys. We're close. I hope you guys are enjoying this look of the Bronx here.
To be fair, though, I don't know why he shot Lilo if he was
That's
unarmed.
another thing.
I don't get that.
That's another thing,
I mean, you already had the draw on him, you know.
Right, and that's something
Just
Lillo
wait for
talks
backup.
about.
Yeah,
that's something Lillo has spoken about, that he still doesn't understand till this day why the guy just shot him like that.
Yeah.
But I guess in the heat of the moment, maybe
he got nervous.
Lillo started turning around towards him, you know, instead of just freezing.
It's probably a dark alleyway, you know.
Yep.
You really can't see what's going on.
Yeah, so we're approaching that address right now. Here in the BX, the Boogie Down.
Yeah. It's ironic.
All right. Ironic indeed. Here we got the train going by again. Must be noisy living over here, huh?
Yeah, I would hate to live here.
Shit.
Nighttime trying to sleep. Every 5 minutes that shit's going by.
Yeah.
Hell no.
It's a good neighborhood too. It's not bad of a neighborhood, but you know,
it's quiet.
Quiet.
Well, for the most part.
Yeah.
Besides the trains.
Besides the trains, yeah.
As far as people.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about here. Boy, look at this house, huh? This is an old one. Oh,
this is old school, yeah.
This is pretty old. This place has been here for a minute. You guys can see.
Could use a good power washing.
Could definitely use a good power wash. Not trying to hate. All right, guys. So we have arrived. We have arrived. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here we are. Right there on the right is 3119 Arno Place. That's where Lillo's old friend Kenny lived. And right there on the left is the apartment where Daniel Enchautegui lived. And that is the alleyway right there where they tried to break into the apartment there. And this is where the events would transpire on 12/10/2005. Lilo Brancato and Steven Armento would enter that alleyway right there, try to break into the apartment. Daniel Enchautegui, living right there, would come out after calling the police. And Lilo talks about being a little elevated. So Enchautegui lived in that basement door right there where that car's parked. Oh. So he was down low and Lilo was elevated. So Lilo stops up more at the higher elevation there, right, when he says to freeze, and this is where Lilo gets shot. And he makes his way, basically makes his way down this way towards the L, short for elevated station, and that's where the cops would eventually see him laid up on the street over there. So I think what we'll do, GunSmoke, is we'll go back down this way, and we'll cross the street, and we'll actually go in front of the houses, and we'll talk more.
Yeah.
We had a lady at the window over there. Just our luck, huh?
Yeah.
Just our luck. I mean, usually we're okay. Huh?
Who are those two hoodlums out there?
Yeah, who are those two fucking hoodlums filming my house? Well, they got to know what happened there. I mean, you know. But it's not every day that somebody pulls up to film this stuff. But this is why New York City Crime Spot is one of the best channels on YouTube.
That's right.
You know? This is what we do. We bring you to the location. We don't just talk about it.
Yeah.
We go there. We show you where it happened. We put you in the spot where these things happen.
Live on the beat.
Live on the beat, live on the scene. You know what I mean? All right. So let's cross over, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll actually go in front of the house where this shooting occurred on December the 10th of 2005. And we'll go over here. We won't spend too much time here. We'll get back on the avenue over there, and we'll kind of discuss the aftermath of this case. So as always, when I come to these spots, you know, you kind of feel the history.
Yeah.
You kind of get a weird mood that, you know, something bad happened, simply because you know something bad happened here, you know. So here we are. We're looking at 3119, where his friend Kenny lived at one point. And this is where the shooting actually happened. This occurred right here, where Lillo Brancato and Steven Armento got into the shootout right here in this alleyway. Right here. And this is Daniel Enchautegui's apartment right here. So this was it, man. This is where it all went down. This is the location that changed the lives of many families.
Yeah. It's a damn shame. A lot of tragedy.
It's a damn shame, man. So you guys got to look at that. I don't want to hang out too long. I don't want to disrupt people on a Saturday morning. What we'll do is we'll go here and we're going to look at the street sign that's actually been named after one of our fallen officers, Mr. Daniel Enchautegui.
Yeah.
We'll look at the street sign and we'll get another look down the block here.
It's crazy how, like, a life of drugs, hard drug use, led him to a split-second decision.
Yeah.
And it changed his life forever.
100%.
Destroyed a life.
Many such cases, right?
Yeah.
Many such cases. Feeding the birds? I bet they love you. You love them? All right. So there's the sign, Detective Daniel Enchautegui Way, over here in Arno Place. Hi, good morning. And here we go. This is a look down on Arno Place. And that night, this place was, of course, flooded with officers, ambulances. This whole thing was wild.
Yeah.
Memories of an ugly past. Right here on Arno Place. So after this, of course, Gunsmoke, this is all over the news. This is going to be in the news for years to come.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Chaz and De Niro, you know, they're shocked. All his former castmates are shocked. You know, it's like, it's one of those things, man. You know, like our generation, millennials, right? How many people do you know that you lost to pill addiction? Or, you know, I have 3 or 4 friends lost to pill addiction. You know, this is like the whole generation, you know, the early 2000s into today. All the young people getting hooked on pills and then eventually doing heroin. And it's like, it's one of those things, like you try to help somebody, you try to give them, but you can only do so much. Yeah. You know, all of Hollywood couldn't help this guy. You know, it's just sad.
Opioid addiction is very, it's very hard to overcome. It's not easy.
It's certainly not easy.
It's a shame, you know, that kid got involved with that stuff because he had the world by the balls. I mean, he was working with all the biggest actors in Hollywood. I mean, he could have been something great.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame what drugs do to you. And then also getting mixed up with the wrong crowd. I understand it was his girlfriend's father.
Right, but that's the addict, right?
Yeah.
They just, you know, they're like magnets, you know, addicts. So they're like magnets to each other.
Yeah.
Basically, they stick to each other, you know, looking for someone who shares. Yeah, what's up, brother? Well, I got a YouTube channel. I'm doing the Lillo story. NYC Crime Spot. Yeah. Oh, you are? You were just talking about NYC Crime Spot. Huh? I have an Instagram too. I just started putting up there, but that's basically most of my stuff is on there. Oh, no way. Well, he's my buddy. It's just me, but he's GunSmoke the Don YouTube.
Yeah, GunSmoke the Don on YouTube, baby.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
You guys do Son of Sam? You guys?
A little bit. My friend Manny Grossman, he does a lot of Son of Sam stuff. He's like the big deal with that. I went to his house the next day. I filmed 90 minutes of evidence collection. Yeah, in Massapequa. That was weird, man.
Wow, bro. You get a lot of views, man.
Yeah, some do pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I go to locations and I do documentaries and stuff. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you guys are the man.
Especially this one.
Yeah. Stay safe, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Was that you guys making that noise over there? With
I was like, what are they, packing cigarettes?
Oh, I thought it was like a train. I was like, what the hell is that? Yeah, thanks, guys. So we just had a cool conversation with some FDNY ambulance guys. They were asking what we were doing. And yeah, they were actually just talking about it being parked over on Arnold Place.
Yeah.
So in the aftermath, I mean, these two are going to be arraigned in December of that same year. They're finally going to be arraigned, you know, after spending some time in the hospital and all that. Wait for that train. I think we found ourselves the loudest neighborhood today. Right? But listen, for you guys that don't live in New York, for you guys in other countries, you're really getting a sense of this, what's going on here. So as I was saying before that train rudely interrupted us, these guys are going to be arraigned in December of that year. And we'll fast forward a little bit, you know, to 2008. So in October of 2008, Armento, he's going to be convicted of murder, first-degree murder. He's going to be sentenced to life in prison. I'm sorry, I don't know if it was first-degree murder. It might have been like a felony murder in furtherance of like another crime, whatever they call it, where it's like you went there to rob, to do something else.
A commission of a robbery, whatever.
But essentially, it ends up turning into the murder, right? So that's kind of like what happens with that.
He got life, right? Without parole.
Yeah, he did.
Without parole.
He did.
Yeah.
Hey, look at those guys.
I know, those guys look a little...
These guys are looking a little...
I can smell them.
I can smell the danger. Yeah, this neighborhood, dude,
definitely connected.
This neighborhood is still a little crooked in the nose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now Lillo's going to get lucky. So one of the things that's extremely interesting about this story is that at the address where Daniel Enchautegui lived, the kid who played C, Francis Capra,
yes,
he grew up there. He used to live there in that house. So this is like fucking as poetic as can be.
Yeah.
He lived in that house, and Lillo said that he used to date the kid's sister. So that's how he originally knew Kenny, from dating Francis Capra's sister, and Kenny lived next door, the Vietnam veteran. So what are the odds that this guy would end up there that day, where young C grew up? He would come back there that night in December and waste his talent.
Just like the movie.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't write a story.
Yeah.
I mean, it
like
should
it
probably
was meant to be.
Yeah,
know?
It should probably be a movie one day, his life. Like a real movie. I mean, now Lillo's going to get lucky. He's going to get away from the murder charge. His lawyer at the time, Joe Tacopina, who's recently represented Trump and has represented a lot of high-profile people. One of the things they couldn't prove, Gunsmoke, was that they couldn't prove that... Oh, fucking train again, hold on. One of the things that they couldn't prove was that if Lillo actually knew that this guy actually had a gun. They couldn't prove that. You know, they went to strip clubs, they went here that night, and Lillo's like, there's no way I could have known this. I wouldn't have been with him if I knew this, right? So, yeah,
it's right. A good cop out.
I mean, who knows, right? So basically, they couldn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he knew that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that plays a part in it. Now, the other thing that plays a part in it is the idea that he knew the guy that lived there, the guy Kenny.
Yeah.
Now, they were able to prove that, according to Lillo, because they had like pictures of the guy, like his sister, like they had evidence that the guy lived there. And this is the biggest part of it all, Gunsmoke, is that one of the people that lived on the block testified in court on his behalf. Now, after Lillo gets shot, he starts screaming, "Kenny! Kenny! Kenny!" He starts screaming out to this guy that he thinks lives there. He doesn't know the guy's been dead for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that ends up helping him too. You know, it kind of further proves his point that he was actually there to see this gentleman, and then he's calling out to him thinking like, oh, maybe he's going to come out and save me, or he's going to call the cops for me and help me, or whatever it may be, you know?
Wait a minute. If they thought the guy was home, why would they be breaking his glass?
That's another thing. That's another weird thing.
They probably knew he wasn't there.
That's another thing. So the story is a little fuzzy, like why wouldn't you just knock on Kenny's door? Unless they knocked on his window, didn't answer, and figured, oh, maybe he's not home, let's break in anyway.
Jesus Christ.
You know, but that's drug addiction for you.
That's desperation, yeah.
That's desperation. That's drug addiction. That it, you know? Now today, Lillo lives a different life. You know, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He had served some time. So ultimately, you know, after he was sentenced, it ended up being 8 years.
And now he's trying to get back into Hollywood.
Now he's trying to get back into Hollywood. And one of the craziest things he said in the interview is that while he was on Rikers locked up, he actually overdosed on drugs in custody in 2006. Now, this would be the second time he would overdose. In 2000, he would overdose while he was getting ready to film a movie. So even after all this happened,
didn't learn his lesson.
Into the next year,
Yeah.
he's getting high. He's doing heroin in Rikers. He's getting, you know, it's unbelievable, the fall from grace.
Yeah. He had it bad with that addiction, man. That consumed him.
Yes.
He had no control over himself. It's really sad, man.
Yeah, it's incredibly sad. And it's sad that it cost an officer's life.
Yeah.
A young man's life. I mean, we'll put the officer aside for a second. This is a 28-year-old man. He's got his whole life ahead of him. And he lost his life. That's something that Lillo has to live with. And that's something that Steven Armento, who's going to live with rotting in prison, hopefully for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Where he belongs.
Hopefully he gets no parole. Because sometimes they give you life, but you get out in 25 years, 20 years.
A la Anthony Center.
Yeah.
If Anthony Center can get out, why can't Steven Armento get out?
And they're letting a lot of cop killers out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least 5 or 6 since like 2017.
Right. You know, and people hate these guys. You know, listen, most cops are just regular dudes, man.
Yeah.
We just spoke to those FDNY, those EMT guys. Not that they're cops, they're not enforced law, but they're just regular dudes, man. They're just regular dudes. And you know what? You know what?
When you know what?
When you're in trouble, Who are you going to call? You're not going to call Ghostbusters. you know, you say you hate cops, you hate this. If someone's got a gun to your head right here on Westchester Avenue, you're going to pray that a blue and white drives by.
Yeah.
So be careful with that hate shit. You know? Because people are just regular people at the end of the day, man. Just regular people. Most of them grew up just like you and me.
Yeah. One of my ex-girlfriends is a cop. So.
There you go. My sister was a cop here in New York before moving to Texas.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was a cop in Texas. So, and listen, you want to say my sister, my brother-in-law are bad people?
Yeah.
I'll tell you to go fuck yourself, you know? Here we are at Ralph Balsamo Place. So today Lillo is out, as we said, and he is working in helping people. He's working as the Director of Public Relations for the More Life Recovery Center. And as you guys know, he's trying to make a comeback in cinema. He's done a lot of interviews on YouTube and other platforms, and basically he's trying to pick his life up together. And you know, Chaz has still never spoken to him, right?
No, Chaz is very bitter with him. He wants nothing to do with him. He's very angry that the kid had, you know, all the opportunities in the world. He tried to steer him in the right direction.
Right.
Give him the opportunity of a lifetime, and he blew it. On drugs.
Yeah.
Killed a cop. He was there. He wasn't, you know, he didn't pull the trigger, but still, you know, he was involved.
Right.
And,
you know, he had everything to do with, and he's lucky that he's not in prison till today.
Yeah.
But you know, that's how the law works.
He should have got longer, in my opinion. But
yeah. That's what good representation gets you.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys got something out of this upload. As I said, I like to bring you guys to these locations to see where these things went down. Gives you a better idea of the neighborhood dynamics and, you know, stuff like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah. And thanks for taking me along for the ride, man. This was cool, man. I like this.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, man.
I think this was fun. And just a side note, actually, you know, Lilo said in an interview recently that when De Niro was filming The Irishman, for some reason Lilo was on set. I guess he got a pass to get on set.
Yeah.
And that's the first time he saw De Niro in a long time. And I guess he was probably nervous to see him. But De Niro grabbed him, looked at him, and said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
That's what he said. "Are you okay?" Which is, I guess, best you could ask for, right?
Yeah, that's more than he would have got from Chaz, I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
Chaz would have probably had him kicked off the set or something.
Yeah. So we've made our way back, ladies and gentlemen. Detective Daniel Enchautegui Way. We'll get one more look down the block, and then we'll call it a day. I think this was a successful upload.
Yes,
so let's
sir.
get a look down the block one more time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll hear the beautiful sound of the train. You guys have a beautiful week. And I just want to see you rest in peace to Detective Daniel Enchautegui. New York City will not forget you.
Since I got these young boy blues, I wanna cry near your name, but if I cried I'd be ashamed, so I let my pride be my